know that one of the excluded groups is scheduled tribes. In our last class, we discussed about various characteristics of tribal communities in our country, their social, economic position, as well as how they are excluded by non-tribal societies as well as British officials, money lenders and others. But for how many years this exclusion should go on? When we got our independence, we strongly believed that this exclusion should not be continued and we have to bring them into the mainstream. Hence, we have started many inclusive policies for the benefit of the scheduled tribes. Let us see what these inclusive policies are. We can broadly classify them into three major categories. The first one is constitutional safeguards. Our constitution provides various safeguards for the scheduled tribes, whether for the betterment of their economic position or education or providing various opportunities for their development. Second category of inclusive policies we can consider as various schemes taken up by the governments, both central as well as state governments. And the third category of inclusive policies can be understood as establishment of various institutions like National Commission for Scheduled Tribes or Tribal Advisory Council or various banks providing opportunities or providing facilities for either water shed management or 𝗳𝗧𝗺𝗺𝗀𝗃 Yojana or employment opportunities, or banks giving some kind of benefits as well as loans so that tribal communities can improve their traditional economic pursuits. So, let us see these three different types of schemes which are aimed to include various scheduled tribes into the mainstream in detail in today's class. The preamble of our constitution, basic structure, fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy, center-state relations. In all these chapters, we have different provisions for the benefit of the scheduled tribes. Let us have a glance of all these provisions. Let us start with Article 15, particularly Clause 4. This article specially provides for the educational advancement of the scheduled tribes, and these provisions are like reservation of seats and relaxation of marks in admission to educational institutions. This also includes scholarships and various other education related measures. Article 46 of our constitution is another important provision which provides safeguards for the scheduled tribes. This article says the state is enjoined upon to promote with special care to education and economic interests of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes and protect them from social injustice and all forms of exploitation. Let us see the next article, Articles 330 and 332. These two articles reserve seats for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in Lok Sabha as well as state Vidhan Sabhas. Article 339 Clause 1 is another important article. This article provides that the President may at any time appoint a commission to report on the administration of the scheduled area and the welfare of the scheduled castes and tribes in the state. Let us see what type of persons we can expect on various constitutional provisions. When we talk about constitutional provisions, this may not be only various provisions of constitution, because prior to the constitution also British government has taken so many measures, and sometimes these measures were belittling the scheduled tribes. we may expect a question even on those aspects. For instance, during the British regime, they have notified tribes with different terms. One such word is denotified tribes. Let us see one question in this context. The question is like this. In Indian context, the term denotified tribes refers to, let us say, 4 alternative answers. Answer number 1 or A, all aboriginal tribes. Secondly, all nomadic tribes, because nomadism is one of the characteristics of various scheduled tribes. Answer number 3 is tribes which were initially listed as scheduled tribes but later they were excluded. And answer number D is tribes which were classified as criminal tribes before independence. Since we are talking about denotified tribes, since this word was used by the British government, this word is not used by the Indian government after independence. Since Britishers considered tribal communities as most of the tribal communities are criminals, so the last answer, answer D, would be the correct answer. That is, tribes which were classified as criminal tribes before independence. When we talk about constitutional safeguards, we also see certain structural aspects. We have so many ministries. An exclusive ministry is there, provided as per the Constitution of India, that is Ministry of Tribal Affairs. It is a nodal ministry for all central policies, planning and coordination of different programs for the development of the scheduled tribes. And this ministry plays a very crucial role in the development of scheduled tribes. Let us have some idea about different activities taken up under various constitutional provisions as well as on the basis of governmental policies. Let us say various governmental programs. These programs can be considered as tribal welfare schemes. These tribal welfare schemes are meant for the development of tribal communities. When we talk about tribal communities, we usually will be talking about where they are working, what type of work they are working, how they are working, and whether they are able to get any benefit from the work which they are doing or not. In other words, we will be talking about their abode, that is forests. We will be talking about what type of educational facilities are available for them, that is educational aspects. Third one is, when they collect forest products, are they able to sell them with some profit or not? Even that also we are going to consider. If tribal communities are having agriculture, are our banks providing any loans or any type of facilities for these people as beneficiaries? We are going to consider them. Let us have an idea about tribal welfare schemes related to forest related aspects, education related aspects, economic pursuits related aspects, and also health. Let me start with the forest related aspects. Here, one major program we have to make a mention, that is Vanabandhu Kalyan Yojana. It is popularly known as VKY. This program is introduced by the central government in 2014 as a central sector scheme, and total amount allocated for this program is rupees 100 crores. Central government proposes to replicate the intervention with special focus on various aspects are there. I request the students to note down them. Firstly, the qualitative and sustainable employment for the tribal families. This is linked with their economic aspects. Secondly, bridging infrastructural gaps with focus on quality. Thirdly, improving the quality of education and health and improving the quality of life in tribal areas. Fourth aspect is the scheme is launched in certain areas where tribal population is more. As a pilot one, this particular scheme is launched in Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Telangana, Orissa, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Maharashtra and Gujarat. Why these states is because they are having more number of tribal communities in these areas. We have to have some light over the approach of this 𝗂𝗑𝗧 also. 𝗂𝗑𝗧 is having a holistic approach. It is an intervention program aimed at adopting a 100% holistic approach to create and enabling environment which ensures various aspects like quality and sustainable employment, quality education and higher education. It also emphasizes accelerated economic development of tribal areas. Health for all is another goal for this particular program. Similarly, housing for all also is another goal. Safe drinking water for all at doorsteps will be provided by this program. Irrigational facilities will be provided for the farmers, particularly tribal communities who do terrace agriculture. All weather roads with connectivity to the nearby towns or cities also will be provided by 𝗂𝗑𝗧. Universal availability of electricity is another aspect which is a part of this. Urban development, institutional mechanisms, not mere mechanism but robust mechanisms to roll the vehicle of development with sustainability. These are the important aspects of the approach of 𝗂𝗑𝗧. That is the reason why we say it is a holistic approach and it promotes and conserves tribal cultural heritage, promotion of sports in tribal areas along with their economic development as well as educational development. Another program which we can mention is a single window program. A single window system for obtaining information about forest products also is launched by the government. When tribal communities collect food products from the forests, we usually divide these forest products into two categories, major and minor forest produce. Many tribal communities are dependent upon the collection of minor forest produces, 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗃 we usually call them. Here, whenever they collect this, whether it is soap nuts or 𝗪𝗂𝗪 or various medicinal plants or honey, all these are termed as minor forest produces. They usually sell them in the market for non-tribals as well as tribal communities so that they will improve their economic position. But they require some kind of marketing services or various services related to the merchandise. In this context, the central government has started a toll-free service number. This number is 1800-180-1551 and this number is inaugurated where market rates information will be given to the tribal communities over phone to the tribals and also others whoever asks for rates of minor products. Not only that, net connectivity also is used in this context. We have Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation of India. It is popularly known as TriFed. Minor forest producers, we have linked with minor forest producers with TriFed, Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation of India, through MFP net. And this net is designed to act as adjunct and a catalyst for implementing the schemes, particularly minimum support scheme, particularly for prices, or how to sell minor forest products. Let us see some programs aimed to improve the educational attainment of scheduled tribes. One such program is Ekalavya Model Residential Schools. They are also known as ashram schools in some states. These Ekalavya Model Residential Schools facilitate the infrastructure and conducive environment for provision of quality education to the tribal communities. And government has sanctioned in each state many 𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃 model residential schools. Even in our state also we have more than 600 𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃 model residential schools. We have to know where tribal communities are residing, aren't we? Then only we will be able to understand them, we will be able to understand their problems and we will be able to do something for them. In this context, government has taken up another scheme, namely mapping of tribal communities. This we study as tribal map of India. In order to map the tribal communities, we use geographical information system, which is a highly developed information system based upon net connectivity. Central government has issued orders to prepare detailed tribal mapping of India utilizing technology, namely GIS, Geographical Information System, and this helps the government while implementing various programs or preparing various new schemes or projects for tribal people. All of you well aware probably about sub-plans. Sub-plans are prepared for scheduled castes as well as for tribal communities or scheduled tribes. This TSP strategy is a very important strategy taken up by the government in order to improve the position, not only social but economic, political and other positions of tribal societies. Tribal sub-plan strategy was initially developed by an expert committee. This committee was set up by the Ministry of Education and Social Welfare way back in 1972. Professor 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 was a chairperson for this committee, and this committee was aimed to prepare a report for the rapid socio-economic development of tribal people. And for the first time from 5th 5-year plan onwards, this tribal sub-plan is being implemented. Tribal sub-plan will cover various aspects. For instance, it identifies problems of tribal people and also gaps in their development. It identifies various resources available for TSP. It prepares a broad policy for framework for development. It also prepares a detailed department-wise plan. It defines a suitable administrative strategy for the implementation of various developmental schemes. It also specifies monitoring mechanisms. It also prepares a detailed funding policy also. Funding of tribal development programs under TSP is mainly taken from 4 different types of funds. The first one is tribal development funds under tribal sub-plan will be sourced from state plans. Each state will have its own funding. And the second one is certain grants will be given under Article 275 Clause 1 of the Constitution by the central government. These are known as Special Central Assistance for Tribal Sub-Plan. And various schemes, Tribal Welfare Ministry also will be providing funds. Third one is sectoral aspects. Sectoral programs of central government as well as departments is another source of funding. And lastly, institutional finance is another area of funding for tribal sub-plan. In our state, we have tribal sub-plan just like in any other states. Tribal welfare department plays a crucial role in tribal sub-plan, and very recently it has proposed a new scheme to improve the productivity of tribal economic pursuits. Here we have to have a glance of how many farmers are there in our state, Telangana state. Somewhere around 3 lakh scheduled tribe farmers are there, and 6.6 lakh acres of land is assigned for scheduled tribe farmers. And tribal sub-plan in our state has prepared a scheme envisaging digging bore wells, energizing them, promoting drip irrigation by linking the scheme with National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme or Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Scheme. Not only that, we have also planning to have a program just like Indira Jalapratha program, where we will be taking help from National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD, and this scheme is going to be implemented from this year onwards, 2017 to 18, and it will be extended for various activities of tribal economic pursuits. Let us see one more aspect of tribal sub-plan in our state. To begin with, we are focusing on 15,000 acres of land benefiting 5,000 tribals, and around 2 lakhs will be spent on digging bore wells, electrification of tribal agricultural areas. We also are going to spend 100 crore rupees for the first year. Later we are going to enhance it to. We will be seeing various central government programs as well as state government programs where grants will be given to various other agencies also. This part we have to consider because other non-governmental organizations or quasi-governmental organizations also are participating in including scheduled tribes. These programs we are going to study, but let us say sponsored programs for tribal welfare. The basic difference is when we talk about only central sector programs or central government programs, the entire responsibility, particularly financial responsibility and other responsibilities, are of either central government or state government. Here, other agencies also are supported by either by the central government or state government. For instance, central sector schemes under which 100% grant is given to the states and union territories are there. Let us see some of them presently being run in our country, and these programs will be run by the Ministry of Tribal Affairs for the development of scheduled tribes. Grants and aid will be provided for voluntary organizations. This is one major program. Second one is special incentives will be given to the non-governmental organizations for performing exemplary tasks meant for the development of tribal communities. Coaching and allied schemes also are given support. Vocational training in tribal areas also will be given support by the central sector. Strengthening of education among scheduled tribe girls in low literacy districts is another important program. Related to economic development, we have various programs like market development of tribal products. Here we will be talking about TriFed, Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation of India Limited. We also will be talking about state tribal development cooperative corporations for minor forest products. It is popularly known as Girijan Corporation in our state. Development of particularly vulnerable tribal groups. These tribal groups are popularly termed as PVTGs. Even for this also some amount will be provided, grants will be provided. National Scheduled Tribes Finance and Development Corporation is established and it is run by the central sector scheme. Rajiv Gandhi National Fellowship for Scheduled Tribe students provide opportunities for higher education. Scheme of Institute of Excellence and Top Class Institute is another program meant for higher education. Besides, if any tribal community person is planning to go for abroad, overseas for higher education, we have a program, National Overseas Scholarship Scheme. We also have mechanisms for marketing of minor forest products through minimum support price and development of value chain for minor forest producers. We have World Bank projects improving development programs in the tribal areas. We also have various other agencies which are very crucial in reducing the problems of tribal communities and also looking into various strategies to reduce these problems. Let us see what are they. One important institution is Tribal Advisory Council. Tribal Advisory Council takes care of the welfare of scheduled tribes, and this Tribal Advisory Council is established, constituted and established in each state wherever there is a scheduled tribal area. Our constitution gives power to the president to declare any area on the basis of population, particularly of scheduled tribes, in consultation with the governor of that particular state as a scheduled area. Not only that, if any persons are having characteristics of tribal communities, then even that community also can be declared as, notified as a scheduled tribe. When this power is given to the president, there is a need to have an advisory council. Hence, we have established Tribal Advisory Council, and in Tribal Advisory Council, a maximum number of 20 members will be there. Out of these 20 members, 3/4 members will be scheduled tribe members of Legislative Assembly in the state. Let us see how a question can be given. How many members will be there in the Tribal Advisory Council? Answers: A 10, B 15, answer C 13, answer D 20. 20 is the correct answer. What are the duties of Tribal Advisory Council? Let us have a glance. Tribal Advisory Council, the name itself talks about advisory role. It advises the governor on matters pertaining to the welfare and advancement of the scheduled tribes in the state, because Tribal Advisory Councils will be working at state level. Tribal Advisory Council members, their mode of appointment of the chairperson, officers, servants and various other aspects, all these will be controlled by the governor of the state in question. Wherever the advisory council is there, that particular state's governor will be deciding all these aspects. Governor also can make a notification that any particular act of parliament or of the legislature of the state shall not apply to a scheduled area or any part thereof in the state, or shall apply to a scheduled area or any part thereof in the state. Tribal Advisory Council and its role mostly determined by the governor. One more power also is given to the governor under the constitution. Governor can also make rules for the better management of peace and good governance in tribal or scheduled areas. You are all well aware, some of the tribal areas are not having peaceful situation. Some kind of turmoil is going on. In most of the northeastern states, turmoil is going on. Even in southern part of India or other parts of India also, tribal communities are retaliating, or some kind of resentment we come across. When such resentment or retaliating tendencies are there, governor can notify any program for the development of peace in that particular state. Let us see whether Tribal Advisory Council of Telangana is there or not. It is there. Starting from 2014 onwards, meetings are going on. The first chairperson of Tribal Advisory Council, do you know who is that person? Let us see the question. Let me give 4 alternative answers. Answer A, Srimati Chandravati. Answer B, Sri Redya Nayak. Answer C, Sri K. Chandrasekhar Rao. Answer D, Srimati Kutuhalamma. You please try to remember the constitution of Tribal Advisory Council. 20 members should be there in the council, and 3/4 of these members should be members, MLAs, particularly scheduled tribe MLAs, out of which one person will be the chairperson, and chairperson can be appointed by the governor. For the question, the correct answer, first chairperson for Telangana State Tribal Advisory Council is Mr. K. Chandrasekhar Rao. Later, Mr. Reddy Nayak became the chairperson. Another agency which is very crucial in order to include scheduled tribes is National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. It is popularly known as NCST. In fact, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes and Scheduled Castes was established according to the constitutional provisions. Article 338 provides for this. 338A is inserted into the Constitution through Constitution 89th Amendment Act in the year 2003. Prior to this amendment, there was one commission, National Commission for Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes. But after the amendment, the erstwhile National Commission for Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes was replaced by two separate commissions, one for Scheduled Castes and another for Scheduled Tribes. The Commission for Scheduled Tribes and the Commission for Scheduled Castes. The National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, NCET, came into existence from 19th February 2004. The term of office of chairperson, vice chairperson and each member is 3 years from the date of taking charge, from the date of assumption of charge. Chairperson will be given the rank of Union Cabinet Minister and the vice chairperson will be given the rank of Minister of State. Other members have the ranks of Secretary to the Government of India. When chairperson is given Union Cabinet Minister's rank, you know pretty well that they will be playing a vital role in all policy decisions, because cabinet ministers are the persons who will take various policy decisions. When NCST is established, various powers are given. It is empowered to investigate and monitor matters relating to safeguards provided for scheduled tribes under the Constitution or under other laws or under government orders, because we have three different aspects of laws in our country. One is legislature made laws, government made laws and also constitution. So, NCST can investigate any matter related to the safeguard of scheduled tribes. NCST is also authorized to inquire into specific complaints relating to rights and safeguards of scheduled tribes and to participate and advise the planning process relating to socio-economic development of scheduled tribes and to evaluate the progress of their development under the union as well as states. So, NCST plays a vital role either in investigating or authorizing or evaluating or participating in various developmental activities meant for the development of scheduled tribes and meant to include scheduled tribes into the mainstream. The Commission is expected to submit its report to the President annually on, firstly, the working of safeguards and measures required for effective implementation of programs and schemes relating to welfare, and secondly, relating to socio-economic development of scheduled tribes. When the Commission presents its report, it clearly shows that this report will be given lot of weightage while preparing policies meant for inclusion of scheduled tribes. We have senior leaders, particularly tribal leaders, as chairpersons for National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. Presently, a senior most tribal leader from Chhattisgarh area, who was also an ex-parliamentarian, Sri Nandakumar Sai, has assumed charge as chairperson of National Commission for Scheduled Tribes from 28th February 2017. The students may expect questions on who are the chairpersons for National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, or what are the functions of National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, what type of complaints we usually come across before the Scheduled Tribes Commission. Such questions also may be given. In most of the areas where we are having some kind of law and order situation related to violent activities against the scheduled tribes, we come across certain issues or writs, habeas corpus or various other writs. Even these writs also will be taken into consideration by the National Commission. If any atrocities are going on against the tribal communities, even those cases also will be dealt with by the National Commission of Scheduled Tribes. We usually come across National Commission for Scheduled Tribes playing a vital role in various states wherever we have many tribal communities residing, whether it is Chhattisgarh or Jharkhand or northeastern area including Arunachal Pradesh or Mizoram or Tripura or Meghalaya, or central India, particularly Bastar area or Madhya Pradesh or Uttar Pradesh areas. Let us see some more exercises on certain tribal aspects related to safeguards as well as related to their structural aspects. The tribal area of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram are separately dealt with provisions of the administration are to be found in which of the following schedule of the Indian Constitution, because Indian Constitution provides various schedules. These schedules talk about different provisions. One very important schedule which one has to remember while dealing with scheduled tribes is, let us see which schedule is that. Let me read out the answers. Answer number A, 5th schedule. Answer B, 2nd schedule. Answer D, 3rd schedule. Answer D, 6th schedule. 6th schedule talks about scheduled areas, notifying certain communities as scheduled tribes, and also specific provisions related to northeastern area. Our question is on northeastern area, tribal area, including Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. Hence, our answer would be D, that is 6th schedule. We are having many tribal communities in our country, and we are also having many provisions under our constitution dealing with administration of tribal areas, tribal people and areas where many tribal communities are there. When we talk about areas where many tribal communities are there, we will be referring northeastern area mostly. Once again, let me see another example for northeastern area. Which of the following articles makes the special provisions for the administration of the certain areas called scheduled areas in states other than Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram? Here, please remember students, the question is not on northeastern area, it is in a negative way, other than northeastern area. Let us see what answers are there. First answer is Article 243B. Article 244 is the second answer. Third answer is Article 245. Last answer is Article 334. When we talk about northeastern area, other articles are there, but when we talk about other than northeastern area, then Article 244 talks about scheduled areas. Hence, the correct answer is answer B, that is Article 244 of our Constitution. We are having many tribal communities in our country. One such tribal community is Birhor community. Birhors are tribal communities from which area? Let us see answers here. They are from Meghalaya state, that is answer A. Answer B, it is a tribe from Ladakh area. Answer D, they are from Jharkhand state. Answer D, they are from Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. 𝗵𝗏 community is a specific community, a self-sufficient community. They have their own language, they have their own organizational aspects, particularly tribal council is there. Their main occupation of course is hunting and gathering, but many of them are doing agriculture also. 𝗬𝗃 or hunting of monkeys is very important for 𝗵𝗏 community, and this community is residing in the state of Jharkhand. So, answer C is the correct answer. 𝗵𝗏 is a tribe from Jharkhand state. We have discussed so far different inclusive policies meant for including scheduled tribes. Let us have a cursory glance from the viewpoint of our examination. We tried to understand these programs into three major parts. The first one is constitutional safeguards. When we talk about constitutional safeguards, we will be talking about various articles. Let us see how questions may be given on this. For instance, our constitution provides for notification of a community as a scheduled tribe. This power is given to answers A, Prime Minister, B, President, C, Governor, D, Chief Minister. Constitution clearly talks about President and his power to denotify or notify a community as scheduled tribe on the basis of their primitive traits, geographical isolation, economic backwardness. Hence, your correct answer would be the President. You may have to remember the article also related to this. We are having a chapter on fundamental rights, which is very crucial even for understanding the position of scheduled tribes. If scheduled tribes are having their own cultural aspects, their own language, so articles 23 or 25 or other articles which are meant for any citizen of our country are applicable even to the tribal communities, because they have a right to have their own culture. Protective legislation is another aspect where you can expect some questions. For instance, Article 15(4) is linked with protective legislation. Article 15(1) and 2 also are linked with protective legislation or positive discrimination. A question may be given like this: positive discrimination policy is followed in order to include scheduled tribes. Basing on this, scheduled tribes inclusive policies give importance to answers A, protective discrimination, answer B, positive discrimination, answer C, liberal interpretation of provisions, answer D, economic development of tribal communities. Your correct answer would be positive discrimination, because articles 14, 15, 16 all these talk about a kind of special provisions for the benefit of downtrodden groups including scheduled tribes. Reservation of seats in parliament as well as state Vidhana Sabhas is provided under the constitution. Unlike other groups like backward classes as well as scheduled castes, certain specific provisions are there for the benefit of scheduled tribes. When we talk about these provisions, we may also expect questions on, firstly, how funds are allocated for various programs as per the provisions of constitution, whether they are going to be given by the central government or state government, or whether these funds are going to be given from contingency fund to the state government or any other method. Another aspect linked with this is organizational aspects. For instance, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes is constituted because the Constitution of India makes a provision for that. Tribal Advisory Council also is established because the Constitution provides for that. Tribal welfare schemes are mentioned under Constitution because various provisions related to positive discrimination are aimed to provide for the welfare of the scheduled tribes. Next part which we have to remember in this context is whether amendments to Constitution play a vital role or not. We have already seen one amendment. For instance, a specific commission for scheduled tribes came into existence because of 89th amendment to the Constitution. Similarly, property owned by the scheduled tribes should not be purchased by a non-tribal person. We have a fundamental right, namely right to property. Here certain provisions are there. If any area is taken either by the government or any other agencies for welfare activities, so it is not a compensation, much more than that. They have to take care of various aspects of tribal communities. All these are constitutional safeguards provided for the benefit of the scheduled tribes. The second aspect which we have to consider for preparation of our examination is various sponsored schemes as well as governmental schemes meant for tribal welfare. These governmental schemes can be divided into two categories: completely central government schemes and state governmental schemes. Though we vaguely remember some schemes, it is not like that. When preparing your examination, you please prepare questions specifically. For instance, what programs are having 100% central sector allotment, whether it is girls hostel or boys hostel. If girls and boys hostels are there, in our state how many girls hostels are there, or how many boys hostels are there, or how many ashram schools are there, or 𝗂𝗚 schools are there, or from where we are taking various funds for these programs. Is it from the state collected funds or central collected funds or any other method? When we talk about central government schemes, it is not only educational aspects, health, economic pursuits and other aspects also we have to take into consideration. Do we have any tribal health programs? Our answer will be yes, there are so many programs. For instance, central government as well as state government provide primary health centers, and primary health centers exclusively in tribal areas or scheduled areas. We are having integrated development also. For instance, integrated tribal development projects are there, and these programs also are very important for the preparation of our examination. Another aspect which we have to consider is how these programs are functioning. What are the various schemes? When a particular scheme came into existence, say for instance, 𝗂𝗚 schools or residential, model residential schools came into existence by tribal subplans as well as tribal welfare measures, and they were started by Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Besides Tribal Affairs Ministry, even Ministry for Social Justice also sometimes sponsor some of the programs. So, like this inter-sectoral programs, if any are there, then some questions we may expect on these aspects also. One more aspect which we have to remember in this context is how much outlay is sanctioned in a particular plan period. Since we are referring the present situation, we usually will be talking about during this particular plan, how much outlay, how much budget is allocated, how many schools are working. We usually take into consideration 2016-17 data or 17-18 data or future prospects also, or our future plans. If any future plans are there, then how are we going to do? Some of the state level sponsored programs are meant for all, but weightage will be given for scheduled tribes. For instance, in our Telangana state, we have a scheme meant for the development of girl children. Education as well as various other aspects will be taken into consideration. Kalyana Lakshmi program is there in our state. This Kalyana Lakshmi program is meant for girl children, particularly their marriage and all those things. But here some weightage will be given for tribal societies. If any health related aspects are going on, some kind of experiments are going on, or invasion by non-tribal communities is going on in tribal societies, then what type of specific legislations are made at state level? Even this also we have to be thorough, because many times such legislations control atrocities or exploitation or oppression against tribal societies. Specific enactments, rules and regulations are there exclusively meant for scheduled tribes, both at central level as well as at state level. Next comes various special agencies, whether it is advisory council or whether it is a research wing or whether it is National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. Besides these, certain other institutions also cover scheduled tribes and their development. For instance, if human rights of a scheduled tribe person are violated, then not only National Commission, even Human Rights Commission also play a vital role. Sometimes in order to maintain peace, government may take certain schemes, for instance 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 scheme. So certain specific schemes also we may have to study. When we talk about social exclusion, we will be talking about how a particular group is excluded, but our emphasis presently should be on what best we are doing or how we are trying to include these excluded groups into our mainstream. So emphasis will be on inclusion. And my dear students, please prepare for both the causes of exclusion and also how our government, individuals, non-governmental organizations are trying to include these people, trying to intervene and develop them.